Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we are going to break down 10 AI concepts that every single leader needs to get their head around. We're talking about everything from the very foundations of this tech to the big picture strategy. Basically, this is your guide to navigating the AI revolution.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll cover why AI is just not optional anymore. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty, the core engines making all this happen. After that, we'll see how to power them up, meet the new AI workforce, and wrap up with the really important stuff, strategy and how you actually measure success.
Okay, Section 1. AI, the new imperative. Let's just start by setting the stage here. Really digging into why this conversation is so urgent for every leader out there right now.
Just look at this number for a second. More than 80%. That's how many companies Gartner thinks will be using generative AI by 2026. And today, it's less than 5%. I mean, that's not a trend. That's a tidal wave. It's a massive, super fast shift across the entire business world. So yeah, understanding this stuff, it's officially moved from the nice-to-have column to absolutely essential.
Okay, so we get the urgency. Now let's pop the hood and see what's actually making all of this run. We're going to start with the two core engines that are powering this whole revolution: generative AI and, of course, large language models, or LLMs.
So, generative AI. At its core, this is all about creation. See, older AI was really good at analyzing or predicting things based on data it already had. But generative AI, it can create brand new stuff. We're talking about writing a marketing email from scratch, designing a product image, or even spitting out working code just from a simple text command. It's a total game changer.
So you might be asking, how does it do that? Well, that's where large language models, or LLMs, come in. These things are the absolute powerhouses behind generative AI. Think of them as these gigantic, super-trained brains. They're built on billions of what we call parameters, which are kind of like neural pathways. And they've learned from a massive slice of the entire internet. It's wild.
In this timeline, this is what's truly mind-blowing. Think about it. Back in the 90s, these models could assist with little tasks. Fast forward to 2018 with things like BERT, and they could actually understand the context of a task. But then, just 2 years later, we get to LLMs. They're not just assisting or understanding anymore. They are general-purpose problem solvers. That leap in that short a time, it's just incredible.
All right, so we've got these incredibly powerful engines. But, an engine sitting on its own doesn't really do anything, right? So the next question is, how do we fuel them up and tune them to do specific, high-value things for our business? Well, that's where these next few concepts are going to come into play.
First up, prompt engineering. This is basically how we talk to the AI. It's this mix of art and science where you figure out how to ask the right question to get the best possible answer. Honestly, it's the difference between getting something vague and useless and something that's incredibly insightful and targeted. If you want to get real value out of an LLM, you have to get good at this.
Okay, next up is fine-tuning. I love this analogy. If a standard LLM is like a smart college grad with a ton of general knowledge, fine-tuning is like sending that grad to medical school or law school. You take that powerful base model and you train it even more, but this time on your specific data, your company's legal docs, your engineering plans, your customer support chats. You teach it your language, your industry's jargon. You make it an expert in your world. But what if you need the AI to know stuff that's happening right now? Like today's sales numbers or a customer's latest interaction. Well, it can't just rely on its old training data for that. That's where something called Retrieval Augmented Generation, or RAG, comes in. Think of it like giving the AI a live library card to access all of your company's most recent private data. That way, its answers are always up to date and super relevant.
And this diagram really shows you how it works. A user asks the question, right? The system doesn't go straight to the LLM. First, it goes to this specialized library. That's the VectorDB, or vector database. It's like a super fast, super smart index of all your internal information. It grabs the most relevant documents, hands them to the LLM along with the original question, and says, okay, answer this, but use this information. The result, you get an answer that's grounded in your company's actual real-time facts.
And when you put that RAG process to work, man, you unlock some seriously powerful tools. We're talking about things like an internal Q&A system that can answer complex questions by pulling from your secure knowledge base, or a tool that can automatically write up a detailed proposal using your latest project stats and pricing. It's about putting your company's specific knowledge to work instantly. So now that our engine is all tuned up, we can start building the actual vehicles that are going to change how we work. I'm talking about the co-pilots and agents that will literally become part of our day-to-day workflow. This is really where AI stops being just a tool in the background and starts being a true collaborator.
So what's an AI copilot? It's pretty much what it sounds like. It's like having an expert assistant sitting right there with you, but inside the software you're already using every single day. It's there, ready to help you write a doc in Word, crunch some numbers in Excel, or draft an email in Outlook. It's all about making you faster and better at what you already do.
Yeah, and that's the key thing to get here. A copilot works with you, inside the apps you already live in. So, say you missed the first 15 minutes of a Teams meeting. No problem. Copilot can give you a summary in real time. It's really about augmenting our own abilities, not replacing us.
Okay, but then there's the next big leap, and this table lays it out perfectly. You've got AI agents, and then you have agentic AI. So a single AI agent is great for a specific task. Think of an agent that just sorts IT tickets. Simple. But an agentic AI system, that's the conductor of the whole orchestra. It sees that same IT ticket, but it can plan a whole workflow. It'll check inventory, schedule a technician, notify the user. It manages the entire end-to-end process to get to a business outcome. It's a huge difference.
Okay, last section. Let's talk about the rules of the road. We've got all this amazing, powerful technology, so how do we manage it responsibly? And, just as important, how do we actually know if it's working? Let's get into governance and ROI.
AI governance. This is absolutely critical. It's the framework, the rules, and processes that make sure you're using AI safely, ethically, and in a way that actually supports your company's strategy. And let's be clear, this is not just an IT problem. This is a board-level conversation because it touches everything: data privacy, your brand's reputation, legal stuff, you name it.
Now let's talk about return on investment, or ROI, because the timeline for seeing a return is actually pretty different depending on what you're doing. With simpler generative AI tools like those copilots, you can see quick wins. You see individual productivity go up, and that shows up pretty fast. But with the more complex, agentic AI systems that redesign whole workflows, well, that's a longer-term strategic play. The ROI there comes from deep, systemic changes, and that just takes more time.
And this chart kind of shows you where we are today. That 15% seeing significant ROI from generative AI, they're probably cashing in on those quick productivity boosts we just talked about. The 10% for agentic AI, those are the early adopters who are figuring out the really complex workflow stuff. The big takeaway here is that both of these numbers are going to go up, but they're on different tracks.
So after all that, why does this matter? Why do you, as a leader, need to know these 10 concepts? Because it lets you cut through all the noise and all the hype. It gives you the language and the framework to make smart, strategic calls about where to invest your time and money, what to build, and how to manage this incredible technology to create real, lasting value for your company.
And I want to leave you with this last thought as you start building out your strategy. While generative AI changes what you can do, it should not change who you are. Use this technology to make your core mission stronger, to double down on your company's values, to serve your customers better. But don't let it replace the very thing that makes your business special in the first place: